While some of these blue bloods are still sitting atop the college football season, almost all of them still have major flaws that they are going through and major setbacks that are occurring to their team right now. Starting with Oklahoma, who I actually think, while this season is probably not going to end up very well, I do think that they have addressable holes that they can fill. I think defensively, they still looked really solid. They need to figure out the quarterback situation. I don't think Jackson Arnold or Hawkins is going to be the answer for them as they move into next year. However, their issues seem to be more of a personnel problem on the field than anything else. They can attack the transfer portal. They have to go crazy hard at recruiting at the offensive line. I actually think they are one of the teams that have looked really, really poorly this year, but have can get a game plan for next year and for the years moving forward to be set up for success. Ohio State, man, this is more right now. They're just dealing with some injury problems right now. Their left tackles have been not playing well and or hurt. So you've had Josh Simmons go down and Zen Mikowski both hurt. I think Zen Mikowski's going to play this weekend, but you can tell there's a big drop off between when Josh Simmons is in there and then Zen Mikowski and then the third string. The left tackle depth and the tackle depth in general on Ohio State was a question going into the season, and it's rearing its ugly head. Now they go on the road to face Penn State, an undefeated team who has a serious defensive line and some great edge rushers on that team who can really get after you. So that could cause a problem for Ohio State this year. Alabama, man, like their secondary has been a sieve. They have not looked like an Alabama secondary as of recent or in their Nick Saban era. Their secondary is really poor. And their offense, they can't get the ball moving. They have no ground game. Jalen Miro can't really figure it out right now. I know he looked better against Missouri, but I don't think Missouri is all that great of a team. Offensively, they're having some serious struggles, and Milroe is kind of part of it. Obviously, their running backs are part of that as well. But they have some problems offensively. Lincoln Riley and USC, I mean, this is one like, where do we start? Their defense looks improved and better from last year, but it's still not getting the job done. And Miller Moss isn't Caleb Williams. He's not the superstar that's going to be flying around and making plays. And that's showing. Like, they have all of the weapons out wide and, in the backfield to be a successful offense, and they're not able to do that. They're struggling at the lines of scrimmage on both offense and defense, and that's something that needs to be addressed for them. I'm not so sure about them moving forward, though, because that has been a focus point for Lincoln Riley and like touching a nerve for Lincoln Riley for several years. All of his teams have these problems with defense, and then with grit and playing with for punishment. So I'm not sure how he's going to figure that out. And then we got Texas. Texas going into the Georgia game looked like all world. They were the top team in the country, and then Georgia ends up spanking them. And while Texas, I think even while the score was close to Vanderbilt, it was a 3-point game, I do think that Texas kind of had control over that game the entire time. However, they did struggle to really pull away and put an end to that game. And Quinn Ewers might be hurt. And they do have an option to go to Arch Manning, but I think there's more flaws and things going on with Texas than people may realize in terms of maybe their offensive line not being as great as we thought that they once were, or maybe Quinn really is either hurt or just really not that guy this year. So I think a lot of these teams are really struggling. And a lot of these blue bloods are really showing some flaws. And that's not even to bring up some of the other blue bloods like Michigan and Notre Dame and Nebraska. Like, all of them have pretty significant flaws that could end up with, potentially causing some serious chaos in the college football picture as we move forward. Like, if Ohio State should just suffer another loss to Penn State this weekend, that could really eliminate them from both the college football playoff and from the Big Ten championship. So a lot of implications. Obviously, you got Texas too that has high goals, and Alabama's still in the hunt. So there's a lot of teams, a lot of these blue bloods that still have high goals this season, but are skating on very thin ice. So we'll see how that plays out for the rest of the year. But it's definitely something you got to watch for. Follow Big Body Ball CFB on all socials.